All right. Here we go, back again on the other side of the coin. All right, guys, welcome to the match review. I love it. Jonathan just bopping up and down with the intro. It gets you going, I can't lie. First of all, thank you to everyone that's joined so far. Felix, thank you, my man. Cho Season, thank you. Thompson, thank you. Zane, and everyone that will be joining throughout the match review. But first of all, I've got a newbie here. Let's introduce the newbie. Taryn, how you doing, my man?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm really excited to get into it. I was hoping for a little bit of a better game to talk about on my first stream, but yeah, we move it. I'm really excited. Cheers, miss, for having me on.
Brilliant. Yeah, man. Look, I mean, I expected us to have like a 5-0, 4-0 victory at least. But yeah, that was very, very tough indeed. But Jonathan, my man, how you doing?
Best part of my last 2 hours was that little intro. That's all I can say. Snooze fest, but yeah, other than that, I'm all good. Ready to talk about this game.
Brilliant. Nishal, my boy, what's happening?
I'm a bit more optimistic than Jonathan. Happy we're in. Happy to be back on as well. So looking forward to it.
Nice. Brilliant. All right, boys, let's get straight into this. Obviously, look, let's get some opening statements and then we'll slowly build up to this game. Jonathan, I'll go to you first of all. Obviously, you've mentioned that it was a bit of a snooze fest, but for me as well, look, I mean, I was watching it. Like, I wouldn't say like I wanted to get away from it. I was definitely watching it, but I was just very, very surprised by how much Barnsley has developed since the last time we played them, because last time they were pressing, but it was very unorganized. I'm not even sure if the coach was the same coach, because this manager might have been a new manager that might have come in recently. They did say came in from October, and we might have played Barnsley before October. I don't know. I could be wrong. But this time around, they looked so organized. They looked so determined. That was probably one of the best pressing games I've ever seen from a particular side for a while, I'd say. And they really caused us a lot of trouble. We ended up getting the win, but wow, they probably should have taken the lead at least a couple of times in that match. Your thoughts, some initial thoughts on the match, man?
Yeah, I tweeted earlier today or yesterday that the most important thing today was the win to get through to the quarterfinals, which we've done. That is, I'd say, the most important thing. The fact that it wasn't a great game, the fact that we've come out of a 1-0 win, I still think it's progress, because would we have done that a few weeks ago or a few months ago? Probably not. We've kept a clean sheet. We've looked fairly comfortable, I'd say. I wasn't really too worried throughout the entire game that Barnsley were going to score. But look, the pitch has had something to do with it. The rotations had something to do with it. But as I said, we're through to the quarterfinals at home to Sheffield United, which is a great chance to get to the semis and try and get some silverware. So, yeah, a bit more positive than maybe 5-10 minutes ago. But, yeah, just happy we've got the win.
Yeah, man. I mean, yeah, the one big positive as well is that next up is Sheffield. Once again, no disrespect. We have beaten them in recent times, and I'm pretty sure they'll turn up for the quarterfinals. But it's good to have the likes of City and whoever else who are still in this competition to be away from them for the time being. But yeah, the pitch was not that great either. Nishal, from your perspective, how do you see that game? Just some initial thoughts.
It wasn't the greatest game. We've said that before. We'll say it again. It wasn't vintage Chelsea. But you're going to have that. When you're playing midweek, weekend, every single week, you're going to have games like this. And it's a testament to our squad and our team. But we've still come away with a win. Wasn't pretty. 83% pass accuracy, the lowest we've had under Thomas Tuchel. Gives you a clear indication that we lost the ball far too many times today. We were very sloppy. And, we didn't look at our best. But credit where credit's due. We got the win. Beautiful goal. Really enjoyed that. And also some great tactical flexibility from Thomas Tuchel. We had to change. We had to adapt to the game. We had to get used to, a tough team, someone who's caused us, a team who's caused us problems, all those years ago in the FA Cup. But we came through, we're through. And, I'm really looking forward to having another FA Cup quarter-final. Hopefully, it's another step closer to Wembley.
Nah, for sure, man, for sure. Taryn, before I get to it, I just want to quickly read this out. Akash, if we keep struggling with the goals from front, then I think upcoming matches will be so difficult and match fixtures are horrendous. Taryn, this comment in itself, just basically give your thoughts on that and also your initial statements on that particular match.
Yeah, I'll just start with the comment first. I think that with Tuchel's system, I think that the forwards really need to click in the way he likes to progress the ball forward. I think that he's starting with the move starting from the back. He's really solidified our defence. We've seen in the first few games, we've been much more solid at the back. The only goal we've conceded so far under Tuchel has just been a really stupid own goal from Rudiger. But I think the chemistry will come from the front three. We've seen a front four a lot under Lampard with either two attacking eights supporting them. So it's going to be different with less players in the attacking areas. I just think we need to be a bit more clinical in the chances we get. I did not see many today, but against Tottenham, I could count many. Against Sheffield United, there was some big chances that we squirmed as well. But I think it's all about just putting the chances away that we really make under Tuchel. Because the way we get the ball forward, I think, is really smart under Tuchel. The way we progress the ball, the little link-ups we have up front. Yeah, it's just about getting the final pass and the final finish, and then I think we'll be good.
No, man, absolutely agreed. The goals. Look, you're right. I mean, we haven't been conceding, which is great. Defensively, a couple of times today, which we'll look into further down the track. Obviously, Kepa keeping us in the game. Tammy Abraham's goal line header that saved us as well. Tammy, second half for me was fantastic. Obviously, gets the goal. Defensively, he was great as well. But yeah, we need to put away more goals, man. I feel like, as you said, Taryn, we need to start taking some of these chances. Guys, let's get straight into the lineup and get deeper into this particular analysis. Let me just bring up this lineup, guys. Jonathan, I'll go to you first of all. Man, I was quite confused when I saw this lineup. I had no idea what was going on in the back line. I thought perhaps Alonso is going to be the left centre back, and with Emerson being the left wing back. But besides that, I mean, Gilmour kind of expected that, and up front, probably didn't expect Hudson-Odoi in this particular match. But then again, I can understand why we played him in that, or else we would have been really struggling with creativity-wise. Even though I don't think Hudson-Odoi created a lot, but at least he was some sort of a threat. Ziyech, Pulisic, I expected a lot, man. I really did, and they did not show up one bit. And Tammy Abraham, for me, first half, I did tweet out that he gets bundled over too easily by some of these defenders, where I feel like he needs to show that, that physicality to push some of these defenders away. I felt there were a few times where he just fell over. I know a few people said he should have got a penalty. I get that. I want him to be a lot more physical. But in the second half, definitely, Tammy Abraham was a lot better, both sides of the field. But from your perspective, Jonathan, how'd you see this lineup, man?
Yeah, when I first saw it, I thought it was a four at the back, because I thought Emerson right back, that's a bit strange. And the way we've written it, it looks like Hudson-Odoi, Ziyech and Pulisic sort of behind Abraham. So yeah, it was a bit strange. And look, Barnsley showed today that they're a physical team. They're going to press us higher. Whilst Kepa didn't really do anything wrong, made a really good save in the first half, to be fair, with his feet. But would it maybe have been sensible to play Mendy with his physical capabilities, the way he comes out and dominates his box? Maybe in hindsight, that's probably the only mistake that Tuchel made today, and the fact we didn't get a second goal. Because otherwise, it was a team I was semi-expecting, a rotated team with players like Ziyech, Pulisic coming in, Gilmour, Kante to get minutes. And obviously Emerson, played the full 90, so good for him to get some minutes. Yeah, it was a side that was clearly going to be good enough for this game, but it wasn't the best of starts. I would have liked a bit of a quicker start. We allowed them to come onto us very early on and press. So, we could have had a penalty very early in the game with that Abraham challenge. Maybe even two, the way he was bundled down. So if we get an early goal, I think this would have been a lot easier game. And that's why people talk about VAR. If it's there, I think they probably give it. So, can't complain about the lineups, because I wanted some rotation. But, some of these players didn't take their opportunity. And you've highlighted Ziyech and Pulisic, two players that I was really disappointed in, for sure.
No, for sure. We'll get into more of that in the match down the track as we build this up. Taryn, how'd you see this lineup, man? Was it a bit strange for you as well when you first had an initial look?
Yeah, just go on what Jonathan's saying, I did think it was a four at the back. When I first saw it, I thought it would be Emerson right back, because against Barnsley, I was not expecting another 3-by-2. I thought he was going to experiment by maybe playing a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-3-3. I was a little bit surprised to see Hudson-Odoi playing as like that kind of makeshift right wing back in this game. I did see Hudson-Odoi get exposed a little bit too much as a right back in this game. I thought that the fullbacks, you saw the cross that Kepa, the shot that Kepa saved in the first half. I think Hudson-Odoi tried to get out to him. He couldn't stop the cross, which I think Reece James would have done. Whipped it in, and it was a good save by Kepa. But yeah, I was expecting it to maybe experiment with a 4-2-3-1 to maybe shift away from the defensive side that we've seen from Tuchel so far. But I think that the 5 at the back is kind of working at the minute. We're getting the 3 points, so we can't really complain with the 5 at the back. But this game again was a game that we just skimmed by the skin of our teeth. We just got through like the Sheffield United game. I would like to see Tuchel maybe try out 4-2-3-1. We did see a bit more fluid in the second half of the 4-2-3-1. I think he moved to a 4-2-3-1 with Reece James pushing the right back. But yeah, I think that it was a bit questionable, the lineup today, but we had to get some of the more experienced players some minutes, like Zuma and Emerson, who I think Tuchel's trying to give the fringe players some more minutes. We saw Andrew come on for Ziyech, who I thought we'll get into that later. I think he had quite a poor game today. But yeah, I think that the lineup was decent by Tuchel today, but I'm expecting some more experimental ideas from Tuchel later on here.
Nah, fair point. Michelle, I'll get you into the frame because you were hidden behind my logo. I wanted to get you back. This lineup from your perspective as well, I mean, obviously a lot of rotation. How do you kind of see this particular lineup from the get-go?
I had 2 main takeaways from the lineup. First of all, Emerson, what was he doing? And I kind of thought from the start, it's got to be a back 3. And it was not kind of working out if it's a back 3 or back 4, but kind of working out, is Emerson actually playing as a left centre-back? And to be fair, he did a job there. You know, he didn't do bad and he didn't do well, but, you know, he did what he needed to do. That was good to see, that he can play in that position. The second takeaway, still no Kai Havertz. That was the first name I looked for on the team sheet. Nothing on the list.
Where is he?
Nothing on the bench.
Where is he?
I'm going to try to find out. It's my goal to find out.
Is he? He's posting Instagram. Yeah, someone needs to tell him to get into the pitch. But yeah, go on, Michelle.
Yeah, now I'm going to try to find out what's happening to Kai Havertz. I'll find out. But, you know, we haven't seen him since Burnley. And it's really interesting because we heard that he took a knock in the build-up to the Tottenham game, but nothing more. Nothing more about, is it a serious injury? Has he, you know, caught something again? Is he got personal issues? You know, so we have no idea where Kai Havertz is. So that really surprised me. But, you know, seeing a back 3, I think I spoke about wanting to rest a few players. You know, Reece James was one I wanted to rest. So seeing Callum play as a wing back, I didn't have objections to that. You know, again, defensive performance was great. And same with you, Jonathan. Pulisic and Ziyech really disappointed me. And it's a shame because, you know, we all know how good they are, how capable they are. But Ziyech was very poor today, didn't get into the game at all, gave away the ball often, didn't have any successful crosses or duels or any of that. Pulisic as well barely got into the game. And it was almost like we were playing with no wingers. And, you know, however hard and harsh it is to say, I feel like the reason we played 3 different formations was because of the ineffectiveness of those wingers. They weren't offering anything. Why else would we bring on an 18, 19-year-old youngster in attack when we're in a must-win game? Because we didn't have those options up top, and they looked really lackluster. And it's especially a shame when you consider we've got 3 wingers, one of them's playing as a wing-back, and the other 2, let's be honest, have to be in top form because we've got some even tougher games coming up. So if they can't perform against Barnsley, with all due respect, we do have some questions to ask. But overall, look, we got the win. There's positives, there's negatives, but we're through. That's what I care about.
Nah, 100%. I just want to quickly... Thompson Jones has said that. Did you see Kai Havertz Insta story? Honestly, I haven't. I think Taryn knows something about it. But Thompson, please comment what was the whole story about? Because I'm kind of interested because this player's gone missing. Taryn, did you know what the Insta story was?
Yeah, I think it was a picture of someone's birthday that he was friends with, and a few days ago he posted a picture, I think, of his dog that he seems to be posting a lot instead of Chelsea news. But yeah, what can you do?
This guy's having a lot
more
of
posts and appearances in the last week.
Yeah,
absolutely. But yeah, Thompson, if you've got any inside stories, please let us know. But guys, let's get straight into this match analysis. Now, we talked about lineups, got some initial thoughts. A couple of you guys have already mentioned that you're a bit surprised to see the 3 in the back. I initially, as you know, Jonathan, when I did my preview, I actually had the 3 in the back. I just thought that maybe he'll continue with the 3. Elias then came up with a whole different formation where he had 4 at the back and whole entertaining sort of stuff happening in the beginning. And it made sense to me because I thought it's Barnsley. We can take that sort of, this is probably the one match we could probably test that four at the back and really give a all-out green light for the attacking impetus. And funnily enough, he changed at halftime. He tactically changed it around, and we looked a little bit better in order to sort of counter them with their press. How do you see that aspect? I mean, do you think, basically what I'm trying to say is a couple of things here. The three at the back, when it's against teams that are sitting back, who we've played so far, I think we looked a little bit better. When teams are actually coming at us, and Barnsley, they're not your Man Cities and your prime Barcelonas, but they press really well. It kind of showed us that back three, when you don't have the right personnel and also the right personnel in midfield, that can pose a bit of a, I suppose, a bit of suspicious mind frame in one's head. How do you see that particular, setup and that tactical change in the second half?
Yeah, three players that shouldn't really be playing in those positions. Emerson left centre-back, trialling. Zuma should have probably been there in an ideal lineup because him as the main kind of ball-playing centre-back doesn't really work. And then Christensen, I thought, again, physically today really well. And until he had that injury, which I'm guessing is the reason he came off, I thought he was quite good as well. And again, him being in the middle maybe would have made a bit more sense, but maybe Zuma's not so comfortable on the right. So yeah, when you've got teams pressing us and you've got an experimental pivot of Gilmour and Kante, and especially Kante, who for me kind of drifted around, lost the ball a lot. I was not impressed with him today. But the thing is, with him and Ziyech especially, because Pulisic has been in and out, he's been playing, he's been starting, he's been getting minutes, he's been coming on. But Ziyech and Kante have hardly played. So I'm not going to dig at them too much because whilst those two were probably two of the worst on the pitch, giving the ball away, and Nishal said earlier about our pass accuracy being really bad. I know that, the pitch has got something to do with it, but yeah, I don't feel like if we'd have had a Jorginho Kovacic who are a bit more comfortable on the ball, coming in, dropping deeper with those three centre-backs with a team pressing on us, we probably would have been a lot more comfortable. So, fantastic that Tuchel's looked at it at half-time. Maybe he's forced because of Christensen, as I said, but the fact that he's changed it at half-time and gone, this isn't working, let me change this, bring Alonso off, bring on Rudiger. This is what I want to see, and I've been crying out for this all season to react to things in game. And again, Nishal, great point. Andrin came on, probably wouldn't have come on in other circumstances because you would have expected Pulisic or Ziyech to have given us a match-winning moment because it was looking all game, especially during the second half until Abraham scored. We just needed a moment of magic. That's all we needed. And we had so many players on the pitch that should have provided that, and it ended up being a counter which James slots through FIFA goal-esque to Abraham, to get the sole goal of the game. And, Abraham gave me some Didier vibes, the way he was, scoring the goal, defending it at, his own set pieces. And that was a great clearance off the line. But yeah, going back to the original point, I think with Thiago Silva there today, I think it would have been a lot more composed, and maybe a Jorginho or a Kovacic, it would have been a lot more composed, would have been a lot better on the ball, retained the ball, and just been a little bit quicker. Because at times we were passing it around and they were pressing us, and then it was just literally Kepa, who I'm not so confident with when he's on the ball. I just think whilst they were good today, Barnsley, credit to them. They know the pitch, they know that they had to press us, they had to start and have the intensity. A Premier League team would have given us a real run for our money today. And I think they would have, let's look at Leicester a few weeks ago. Imagine Maddison, Barnes, etc. on that back three. They would have had a field day. So, credit for changing it, credit for the subs. But yeah, there's a few players that really didn't do themselves any favours today.
No, for sure. We'll get to that. I just want to quickly touch on this comment and then go to Nishal on this. Christensen, Zuma and Rudiger played well. Thompson, Jones, as you know, my man, I respect you a lot. I do understand where you're coming from. They did play well in the sense that they defended well. Where I have the issue is that we are playing against a team like Barnsley where we need to be dominating the ball. They shouldn't be dominating us. That's my perspective. And I think the way it was set up at the back with Christensen being the right centre-back, Zuma the middle one, and Emerson the left one. Obviously, Rudiger came in the second half. Rudiger was definitely very, very good in defense. And I think with the ball was probably better as well, and having four at the back. But that first half with three, I reckon Tuchel got it wrong in regards to where those personnel needed to be. I think Christensen needed to be in the middle. I feel if he was in the middle, he would have been able to dictate the play a little bit more from the back. And Zuma could have either been on the right side, obviously, because Emerson's now playing on the left side. From your perspective, Michel, just on that back three in the first half, did you think the combination of where they was a little bit dodgy, considering you had Kante and Billy Gilmour in the middle? Billy's probably the only one that's really great in order to moving the ball around and building up, because Kante, as well as he is with the ball, he doesn't really like to have that much possession. So from your perspective, what do you think about that back three and that personnel used?
I mean, it was an interesting combination, not one that many of us could have predicted. Like I said, Emerson, who would have seen back at the back. But, I think Christensen and Rudiger played really well together. Again, like you say, their positioning, could have seen it better. Sorry. Yeah, Christensen and Rudiger. Again, positioning, Christensen as a central centre-back would have been better. But I was really impressed with what I saw from him. He was one of my standout players in the first half. And what was a really underwhelming opening 45 minutes, he was brilliant. Clean up every ball, really confident on the ball, even driving us forward, getting it to the midfield. And it was a shame to see him go off, Of course, a precaution, and I hope he's okay. But, he was very impressive in the opening 45 minutes. In terms of saying whether Tuchel got it right or wrong, I don't fault him at all for playing a back three. Because as I've said time and time again, if it's not broken, don't fix it. Keep playing a back three. Yeah. That's what's worked for us. And, it was a very bold move to go to a back four in the second half. And I think I was trying to figure out why did he do that. Obviously, not why. He did that to get a foot in the game and get a result. But what advantage did the back four give us over the back three? And I think the answer was almost less pressure on the defence, because when you're a back three, you have a lot more reliance on the fullbacks, especially when you're coming up against a team playing the exact same style and formation who are going to come at you. You have a lot more reliance on the fullbacks, whereas when you're in the back four, that standard back line, I think you've got a lot more reliance, and you've got that stability at the back. And that's what we needed, because, Kante and Gilmour, they weren't brilliant today, let's be honest. The defensive midfielders who were usually cleaning up and covering the defence, they didn't really stand out. And there were a lot of contrasts. We looked more vulnerable and less solid in midfield in contrast to when we were playing Jorginho and Kovacic. But yes, we made the change to a back four. I'm happy with that. It shows us we can still play both. But, I think the defence did well. Don't forget that we kept another clean sheet. We did well. We really had to get all the men back at the end. But it worked. That's all I can say.
No, fair point. Taryn, I'll go straight to you, my man. Obviously, we're talking about the build-up and the combination of the back. Let's talk a little bit about that midfield of Kante and Gilmour. I don't know about you, and this is what I want to hear from you as well, that from my perspective, I thought Jorginho and Kovacic, when they're both playing, we are so much in control. I know a lot of people will say, that's a lot of sideways passing. But some of these sideways passing really frustrates the living daylights of the opposition, moves them around. And they're very much press resistant as well. When teams are pressing, Kovacic has a way to just smash through the middle. Jorginho, with his first-time passes, really opens things up. Are you sort of in the stance now that this is probably why we are not seeing as good as Billy was probably for the second half of the game and some parts of the first half? Are you sort of now seeing why Billy probably doesn't start as much, and also why Kante hasn't been starting that much?
Yeah. I'll just start with last season when Lampard first came in. We saw Jorginho and Kova playing in a pivot like a lot. We saw in the Ajax game, most games at the start of the season. I thought we played really, really good football in that time. We went on that winning run under Lampard. And I'm not throwing Kante under the bus, but as soon as Kante came back in, I didn't think the dynamics were really there with Kante and Kova, Kante and Kova, Kante and Georgie. But I think that Kova and Georgie really complement each other's games. They may not be like your Xavi and Iniestas, they may not be your Ndombele and Højbjergs, but I think that with the right tactical setup, I think that Kova and Georgie can really destroy teams, whether it's shifting plays so the other team gets tired, constantly going back and forward, coming out of shape when they're switching play, and Kova driving through the middle. But I do think that dynamic really works for them too. When Kante comes in, I think that obviously he's one of our only world-class players, Kante is. He's a really good player. I don't think that he has the right qualities to match with Kova or Georgie. Personally, I think that he suits next to a DM and then Nemanja Matic, Danny Drinkwater. We don't really talk about Drinkwater, but I think.
He's won a Premiership. He's won a Premier League with Danny Drinkwater in Leicester.
That's
and Matic as well with us.
Exactly, yeah. I think that he suits like someone who can hold and kind of, if they've got past him, to just break the play up. He's kind of a guy who can press all over the pitch, break up play anywhere. I think when I thought Kante playing under Tuchel, I thought counter pressing. You see with counter pressing, picking the ball up high up the pitch, starting attacks. I thought Kante would be perfect for that, but today I didn't really see him merit enough to get into the team for the next game. I really want N'Golo to play under Tuchel all the time, maybe in a midfield three. But today I didn't see it. With Gilmour, I think that he's getting there. I think that his physicality is what's really lacking. As Tuchel's mentioned before, he's not scared to mention it. If he can maybe get more physical and maybe get a Premier League loan or a Championship loan, just to beef up a little bit and get used to the physicality in the Premier League. Because don't get me wrong, playing for Chelsea, you need to be at the highest level all the time. Nothing in the game can be lacking. Like with Kova, you've seen him. He's really strong. Like he doesn't with Dele Alli last year, with Ndombele and Wibia. You don't see him getting pushed off the ball a lot. With Georgie, he's kind of smart with avoiding being like exposed for his speed.
True.
We did see against Tottenham in 2019 with Son just absolutely burning him down the wing. We saw that. But apart from that, we don't see Georgie getting exposed too much in when he's next to Kova. Yeah, I think Gilmour needs to. His understanding of the game is really well. You can tell he knows exactly where to be on the pitch. I saw a diagonal pass they picked at Hudson-Odoi today. It was really smart. He evaded the press and played a really smart ball. He does need to get more physical, and I don't see him really breaking past Kova and Georgie. And I hope Tuchel can kind of be brave and stick with this midfield too. They could play more forward passes. I saw today a lot of runs from Abraham that Gilmour and Kante didn't pick out, as I saw with Werner running behind at Sheffield United. Our midfield need to work on the passes through the lines, because teams tend to play a high line against us, like Sheffield United. Werner's pace can really be used well. He's not the best in tight spaces, and I think that if Kova can maybe just see that pass a little bit quicker and ping over the top. Georgie has in his locker. We've seen the pass from Southampton, where first time ball over the top, went round Vestergaard to Werner, over the top header in. We saw it at Watford last year. Georgie has in his locker. He just needs to be a bit more brave, and whether he's been told to not lose the ball as much, the Lampard and Tuchel, that's fine. But sometimes you need to pick up these runs, and then I think that will also help. Referring to the earlier question, making those final passes work, and maybe getting Werner in the clear for one-on-one that maybe he'll take one day. So I think that the midfield two at the minute, I'd stick with Kova and Georgie personally. They may not be the best midfield duo in the world, but they do work in the system, and that's how I summarize it.
No, for sure, man. As you said, I think both of these players, the more they play and the more they get into this system that Tuchel's got us playing at the moment, they will get better and better. Jonathan, from your perspective as well, I mean, I know the fan base is gassed about Billy Gilmour. Every time he plays, we want him to play. But we need to humble ourselves, I think. He's a very, very good player. And I think what Taryn said, that he does have that every now and then, the physicality sort of... I think, look, he's a lot more physical than Jorginho, no doubt about that. He will get into a physical battle. But, some of these boys are a bit too big for him at times as well. And not just that, I also want to mention, every now and then he has that off pass too, and he gives away in a very dangerous position. And I think that comes with experience as he plays more and more in this particular level. That will get better and better. Do you want to see someone like Billy Gilmour right now to play week in, week out, or do you feel like still keep learning? Or I don't know, maybe he's a good way to learn as well. Like, what's your thoughts about this before we talk about other players?
I think Tuchel just wants to have different systems available, different players for different systems. And I wanted to see Gilmour and Kante at times. I wanted to see Gilmour and Mount just to see how it goes, because unless you try these players in positions and with other players, you never know how they're going to work. So one duo I really want to see, because I feel like it's really important for that pivot to be good on the ball, to be able to drop deep, to be comfortable to turn and run, which Jorginho and Kovacic have been doing really well lately. It won't work every game. And I really want to see Kovacic and Gilmour, because Kovacic can turn, not easily pressed. He can run with the ball, dribble, link it up, pass. And Gilmour, when he's told to be more disciplined, he will sit more. He will be able to link up. He's happy on the ball to get it, turn, back, front, sideways. So I'd be really interested to see Kovacic and Gilmour, because I think that could work. Because Gilmour's a lot more mobile than Jorginho. Yes, he may not play the one game or one ball a game that Jorginho plays that can really be decisive in a game. But yeah, I just feel like, like you say, if Gilmour doesn't play, we're not going to be able to see how good he is. It's the same with other players. Ziyech coming in, if he doesn't now play for 3-4 weeks, how does that help him? I'm not saying you have to adjust your team around players and their confidence, but yeah, I think Gilmour, Kovacic, I'd really like to see how that worked in a big game, because I feel like it could have worked against Tottenham the other week. I feel like it would have worked today because, Kante just wasn't as comfortable and coming back in after so long and with that pitch, the passing wasn't particularly on. So, yeah, we just need, if we're going to have that three at the back, to have three centre-backs that are comfortable on the ball, to have two people that are dropping deep, because we almost play in segments. We build up slowly from the defensive third, we get it into the middle, and then we get it quickly out wide or through the middle to our strikers. It's all going to come with time. We are way ahead, in my opinion, of where we should be under Tuchel. Way, way ahead. So that's probably why I'm becoming more positive for this game, despite sitting there on my phone, not really paying attention, eating during the game, which I don't normally do during Chelsea. I'm normally really focused. So, I want to see some combinations, and I think it will come under Tuchel. He's got some surprise up his sleeve, I'm pretty sure.
No, for sure, man. I think, look, we can't forget the fact that Billy Gilmour played a nice role for that build-up to that goal as well. He released Reece James to open space, and then Reece cut in. Let's now go through the player analysis. We'll get into the goal as well. Let's start from the back. I'll go to Nishal first up. Nishal, Kepa, for me, he was quite good today. Besides that Tammy Abraham, where he, lunged out and completely missed everything. Luckily, Tammy saved his backside. But from your perspective, how'd you feel Kepa went? I thought he was quite brilliant.
Yeah, I was happy with Kepa. Really good to see him back in the team. We saw Thomas Tuchel saying that he's given him a clean slate, and that's exactly what he needs. Because while for Chelsea fans, we know we've seen him this season, last season, and we know, unfortunately, those vulnerabilities and flaws of his game. Tuchel is coming in, giving him a chance, a huge chance, to redeem himself and maybe even get that number one spot back. Who knows? But I was really impressed with Kepa. Deserved clean sheet. I think above all, yes, we said we're saving first off. Really good save, great reflexes. But something we've criticised Kepa for over the years has been a failure to command his box. And I think he actually did that well today. Claiming crosses, clearing his lines, really looking...
Just barring that one time. There was just that one time in the second half. That was the only time. And I think besides that, he pretty much commanded it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, when, especially against Barnsley, they overflowed the box a lot. They were really piling on the pressure. But Kepa looked at home. He looked comfortable. He was alert, really, really proactive in goal. And I think, there were a few moments. I think that was kind of natural, especially with the way Barnsley were playing. But I was very impressed with Kepa. And I think, he deserves a lot of plaudits today because, of course, not only it's his third manager, he's coming off a worst spell in his career, coming off, from being an outside player, and to have that faith from Marina Granovskaya and Thomas Tuchel, most importantly, is going to be big for him. So I hope he can come back and keep this up. And we've seen good signs today.
Now, for sure, man. Him performing well only means that maybe we can find a home for him come summertime, whether it be a loan, whether it be a full transfer. It is a bit of a mess of a transfer, that one, 72 something million, 70 contract with still, I think, 4 years to go. But you can clearly see he's not really there yet to be the number one goalkeeper. He's a decent backup, and I hope he continues like that. Taryn, I don't want to talk too much about the centre-backs because we did touch on. I do want to talk about one particular player, though. Alonso. For me, that goal that was saved by Kepa, which, honestly, Barnsley should have gone a 1-0 up. Yeah. This is the thing about Alonso, isn't it? He goes through some really good games, and then he starts feeling, all right, I'm back. It's more like, all right, here we go, back again. Alonso starts feeling like that, do you know what I mean? And then straight away in that situation, he was ball watching, and a smaller player from Barnsley goes around him and has an open opportunity. Talk to me about his performance, because he was one of those ones that got hooked off at halftime, I believe, Alonso. I don't think Tuchel would have been very impressed by that.
I think that with Alonso, you know he has mistakes in him. We saw it at West Ham last year, completely left Yarmolenko to run in the clear one-on-one. Alonso does have these mistakes in him, but I think that this can happen, like a lapse of concentration, it can happen. We saw with Chilwell, he got really lucky against Chris Basham. He took him down in the box, it was offside. I think it was a header that was maybe flicked on. He maybe expected Zuma to win it, but you can't expect it to win. You have to expect the worst at this level. He probably should have got there first. And I didn't think Alonso was very good today. That's why he was taking over half time. His positional play, I felt like he stayed quite wide quite often. I saw him just holding the width so Pulisic could drive inside. But he didn't really offer much to the game, and maybe he was hooked off straight away just to switch formation. I would have preferred to see Ben Chilwell today, personally. He hasn't been favoured under Tuchel much so far, I think that Chilwell maybe could have been better. He could have got behind the high line a little bit more of Barnsley. But I thought Alonso wasn't great tonight. I think it was a great choice by Tuchel as well. He could have really cost us with that first goal. We could have been on the back foot. They could have just sat back in the low block the whole game. But it happens with Alonso. He is good in his position. He's a threat in the box. He does know what he's doing in that position. He leaves space for the likes of Pulisic and Mount to drive into. Maybe knows that position a little bit better than Chilwell. That was about 3 years ago that we saw him in his prime, where we won the title under Conte. He's also not the same player as he was before anymore. But I think we should maybe give Alonso more chances as a wing back. He's clearly won a faith back with Tuchel. Definitely would prefer him to Emerson, a left wing back. He's definitely not a natural left wing back. We didn't see much from Emerson tonight, so I think that he's going to be a starting left back for us in the future. But I think that Alonso needs to do more in that position. Maybe he got a goal, but apart from that, what have we really seen from Alonso to really think that he is much better than a £50 million blockbuster signing, a left back, Ashley Cole dubbed player. But he needs to perform a little bit better, I think, to merit his place in the starting lineup. We could see Chilwell back in Newcastle, I predict. I think he played really well in the game at St James's Park. The own goal was kind of caused by a push, maybe by him onto Fernandes in that game. I think we will see Chilwell, but Alonso needs to do more in the team, to summarise.
Nah, for sure, man. This is the thing. I feel like with that performance, you never know. Maybe that might just kick up Alonso again, and he might just come alive against Newcastle. If we continue playing three at the back, which I think we will, Alonso makes sense. But as you said, Taryn, man, I mean, Chilwell, I've been so disappointed over the last couple of months with him. I really want him to come good, and he needs to come good. But let's see what happens against Newcastle. I wouldn't be surprised if Alonso starts again, although he got substituted off. Jonathan, I want to talk to you about, I don't want to talk about Billy Gilmour too much because we've touched on him. I want to talk to you about Kante, because you have been a bit critical of him in recent times, even during Frank Lampard time. And I understand that, though. I really understand. Kante, for me, the way I look at it, he's a very much a counter-attacking player. He loves to be in a formation and in a style where you sit back and you counter, much like the way Leicester played in that that title-winning team, much like the way we played under Antonio Conte in that title-winning team, which was very much a counter-attacking team. Yes, we did have good attacking flair, but we predominantly just stayed deep and structured and countered well, and it suited Kante's style because he would just snap in and get those interceptions and really zip forward for a quick, fast counter-attack and link up with the midfielders and the forwards. I know he's had some injury issues in recent times. Where do you see now Kante's future? There's been a lot of questions. I don't know if you've seen Dan McCarthy came up with a tweet the other day saying something about Kante, da-di-da-di-da, nothing too drastic. I mean, I know Tuchel's been saying that he's very much fond of this player. How do you see this developing?
Not one to talk about rumours, to be fair, but I did see that tweet and I have seen quite a few other ones. It is very interesting to hear Tuchel's thoughts on him and, praising him, saying he's always wanted a world-class player like him to play in a pivot, his style of player. But yeah, it's interesting because so many people wrote Kovacic off because he didn't particularly fit Lampard's style. And starting already, it's been, a few weeks, and people are starting to write off Kante. He's been injured, he's come back in a difficult game away to Barnsley. That pitch was, and I've said it 3-4 times, but it's horrible. I'm looking at it on my TV, and my wife came in and thought it was one of our local parks. It was that bad. So look, when you're told to for someone that isn't as comfortable on the ball to be able to be told you need to be better on the ball to link up play and to move it on. It's not easy. So Kante fits a certain system, I think. He's not a lone DM. I've said that many times. That's what I've been very critical of. I've been critical of the fact that because of his injuries and coming back, he's been a bit slow, and he was slow today. But he's certainly got a place in our side because, like when he came on against Sheffield United and he added into that midfield, he bolstered the midfield with a 3. He gives us different options. There is no harm of having different players with different systems and different tactics, because over the course of a season, in the variety of games that we've had or will have, we need these different players in these different solutions. Because let's say Atletico Madrid away, Romania, wherever it is going to be, he may be very useful in a 3. He may also be, very useful in other games, like, that Sheffield United game where he came on and bolstered the midfield. So, I'm not going to write him off. We've written off players before. And I just feel like he is a world-class player. But
you will agree, though, Jonathan, that he's used in a particular scenario.
System. 100%. Yeah. I completely agree. He's not as comfortable on the ball. If you're going to play a sitting pivot that just wants to, nip out the ball and get rid of it, fine. But if you want him to be better on the ball, not going to happen. If you want him to play on his own, he's not as disciplined enough. So he has his uses, but there's not many players better that are, seek and destroy, to use a Call of Duty phrase, I think. So, he's certainly got his uses. He's certainly loved by Tuchel. And, he's just come back from injuries. He's had a stop-start, just like Pulisic. And I feel these players need game time. It's so hard when you're just on a training pitch because it's nothing like the intensity of a proper match. And that game today was a really tough match. And to come in and start and be captain, it's not easy. So, whilst I have been critical of him, I feel like, he will be very useful for Tuchel for the rest of the season.
No, for sure, man. Before we, get into the whole other players, and this is where the excitement starts because I really want to talk about these other players now. Almost 60 people that have logged on. Please smash that like button, first of all. Get it to at least 60 likes. And secondly, each and every one of my members right here, the panelists, please follow them, subscribe to them, blogs, whatever they have, all in the description right now. Please follow them ASAP. Please do that. But Jonathan, and to the lads, this was probably one of our toughest games so far that we've played. I don't think we've played a tougher game, which is crazy, and it's against Barnsley. I'll go to you, Nishal, now, to some of these other players I really want to talk about, and I'm pretty sure this is what the live chat wants to hear as well. Let's start, first of all, by Pulisic. For me, oh, man, I don't know, man. That wasn't the greatest game from Pulisic. I know he's another one of those players that is slowly coming back from injury and whatnot. And we've been pressed so hard in this particular match. To be honest, I can't remember any highlights of Pulisic in this match. Like, I'm finding it very difficult to now sort of rethink and go back and go, what did he do well? Or was there any key moments in the match? From your perspective, Nishal, surely this guy has not put enough now to doubt in Tuchel's mind to say he definitely needs to start, because obviously we've got a lot of competition with Mason Mount. Werner will probably come back as well. Callum Hudson-Odoi sometimes plays in as an inside forward. Your thoughts about Pulisic?
You say you can't remember any key moments from the match from Pulisic. I'll be even more honest. I can't remember the last time he had a really good game. And it's cynical, but I think back in December maybe against Leeds is the last time I really remember him making an impact. Scoring that counter-attack goal in the last minute to wrap up a win. Pulisic's been very underwhelming recently, and it's a real shame because we know what he's capable of. Look at that month, 2 months after lockdown, where that is the best we have ever seen Christian Pulisic. And it really got us excited. Look at this player. Look what he can do coming back from injury. And I think, with his recent injury, there's only so much you can attribute coming back and recovering to his performances. He's not been good enough. And it's a shame to say because, as we said, we know how good he is. We've seen how good he is. We know how he can link up with Tammy Abraham, how he can play with Hakim Ziyech. But along with Ziyech, which I'm sure we'll touch on very soon, Pulisic just hasn't had that effect in the game. And what's even more disappointing is that if there's any player in that Chelsea team who should be flourishing under Thomas Tuchel, it should be Pulisic. Because don't forget their link up at Borussia Dortmund. Pulisic got his senior debut under Tuchel. He was a key part in a squad which was full of attacking talent, and Tuchel gave him a chance. So, there's no doubt this is the best man for him to work under. But today, we didn't see anything. I struggled to remember anything he did. And going back to a point I made at the start, we had to bring on Tino Andrew to add any attacking flair. Hakim Ziyech didn't help it. Pulisic, everything we saw on the left-hand side was from Emerson and Callum Hudson-Odoi coming over to that side.
Yeah.
So a lot of questions to be asked, and especially when, as I said, we're not really blessed with wide options. Sure, we have great players, but we don't have great depth. 3 players is good, but when Ziyech and Pulisic are injury-prone and Hudson-Odoi is someone we're using our wing-back and our wide, it's very risky when you have not one but 2 of them very out of form, and especially in this period, in this COVID period, where we have 2 games a week pretty much. We're going to Bucharest, to Manchester, to Yorkshire. We need these players to be fit. We need players who are capable of playing 2 to 3 times a month. But with Pulisic, we don't see that, and that comes off in his performances. So I'll be honest, I am worried and I am concerned, but I believe in him. I know he's a good player, and with good time, we will see him flourish and prove himself under Tuchel.
Now, for sure. Taryn, man, it breaks my heart. Honestly, this player, Ziyech, right? I want to talk about Ziyech now. Obviously, we've touched a little bit about Pulisic. Ziyech, for me, I've said it every time. Every time I come to this stream, and the boys know it, I'm massively biased towards Ziyech. I love the guy, man. I've loved him for a very, very long time. There's one player that this season, once the Megastore gives out some discounts, I'm going to buy this cheap like that. Boys, I can't buy full price jerseys. It's too expensive for me. I don't make enough money. But yeah, when that comes into discount, definitely getting Ziyech's jersey. But man, Taryn, he hasn't been good, man. I got to be honest. He hasn't been good in recent times. I've said it many times that even when he's not good, he's still capable of producing that 1 or 2 key passes, which will open things up. And I've loved that X factor about him. And that's why I want him to keep starting. But performances like today, I can't see how he dislodges Mason Mount or let's say Timo Werner if we're playing with the 2 inside forwards, or even Callum Hudson-Odoi. Definitely Mason Mount. Let's say he's his direct sort of competition. I can't see how that performance would dislodge Mason Mount, who's absolutely smashing it at the moment. He's doing everything right that is possible, and I think someone like Thomas Tuchel is loving having a player like Mason Mount. From your perspective, I mean, that was a tough match for Ziyech, but I wanted to see a lot more. I think he was trying. It just wasn't coming off.
Yeah, I think that in these physical games, you could say that Ziyech's going to struggle because he's not used to the physicality of English football, but he has the footballing brain these players don't. He can drop into the spaces, spray them really technical balls out wide, play the balls in behind. We didn't really see that today. He was pressed, I think, really well by the Barnsley midfield. I don't want to butcher their names. I don't know their names, but yeah, they pressed him really well. But we all know what Ziyech can do. Like the first game we watched him play, I don't know if you guys watched the Brighton friendly where it was 1-0. First, literally 2 minutes into the game, Ziyech just whips the ball over Hudson-Odoi, Werner goal. Literally, we knew we've got a real player on our hands here. The first game where we saw Ziyech, Sheffield United, whipped the ball into Thiago Silva, whipped into Chilwell, played it into Kovacic, who played it back to Abraham. We all know what Ziyech can do. I just think that he's on a little bit of bad form at the minute. What can we do about this? I think just give him more game time. Just what we're doing with Werner, we're giving him more game time to kind of play out of his bad form. We know Ziyech will come good. Like we have no doubts in our mind. And in the bigger games, he's one of the few players in this team where I can say he has that in his locker to unlock these tight defenses. That's why Lampard brought him in. We struggled against low blocks a lot last year. I can remember the Bournemouth game at home where we played. We just spamming crosses in, just trying to pick something out with Willian, who just each corner, front post every time. Like, please do something about it. Did nothing. But Ziyech was a player we brought in who we knew he just has it in his locker. He knows what he can do. We haven't really seen that for many games. Injuries, we can't take away from the injuries have been really unfortunate to him. Got injured at Brighton in his first game. Got injured at Leeds at home. Yeah, it's not been fair for Ziyech, but I don't think. But once he starts getting a good run of games, we'll see it. I don't know where he really fits in the system. I mentioned the half space earlier. Him and Mount are perfect for dropping into them half spaces, but Mount kind of has that like leap about him where he can pick up the ball and maybe spin a defender. Ziyech doesn't look like he has that speed. I've seen it at Tottenham at home where he drew 0-0. Teams are pressing him high up, and he just didn't have that. He has the brains, but he doesn't have that kind of little bit of pace to try and break past the defender, then play the ball. We see that a bit better with Mount. Ziyech and Mount, I think, are too similar to play in the same team. The best I saw us play under Tuchel was against Burnley, where we kind of had an interchanging front three with Pulisic, Ziyech, and Werner. With them three, just changed roles, caused issues for the defence, and just kind of squirmed around me and Tarkowski. I thought that was really well. Ziyech, I don't think this position really suits him as being that kind of quirky little, trying to get past the defender, then playing the pass, which we've seen Mount do. I think Ziyech needs to be more on the right. We've seen the best of Ziyech playing on the right, whipping the balls across to Abraham. We saw it at Stamford Bridge when we drew 4-4. Quincy Promes getting at the back post. He doesn't suit the wing-back role, I wouldn't say. As his defensive side isn't good, I prefer Hudson-Odoi there. But maybe we can interchange Hudson-Odoi into the middle during the game. Ziyech can maybe stay out wide for a bit, whip the balls into Pulisic, running at the back post, Werner. But Ziyech, right now, he's not really doing enough. But yeah, I'm sure it'll come good.
Now, just on that Ziyech, man, it's a good point that you said that he's not doing the whole, getting the ball and turning a defender and really running past him. I have seen him, though, do that. I've seen him do that in Ajax. I've seen him do that in the Champions League big matches. I've seen some parts when he was going through that really good patch straight after his first injury, when he had that patch of games, he was doing that. I think it will come. It just needs that confidence and more time. I'm just worried that how does he get time? Because, you can't displace Mason Mount and Callum Hudson-Odoi or Timo Werner at the moment. So he needs to slowly. I think he just needs to work hard in training ground and somehow get back his shape. Before we talk about Tammy Abraham, which was the man of the match performance for us, I just want to bring this up. Nishal has blinked about 1,000 times for me. I didn't notice this, but I just noticed when Taron was talking, and I was like, "Oh my days, Nishal is blinking a lot." But Nishal, that's fine. I mean, we're just having a bit of fun and games, man. Don't take it otherwise. Jonathan, let's now talk about. For me, Tammy Abraham was man of the match. Guys, 75 people logged on right now. Smash that like button. Let us know in the comment section who is your man of the match. Support these guys. Every information about these guys in the description. So go and support them. Follow them everywhere in social media. They're best to talk to. Let's talk about Tammy Abraham. Jonathan, for me, man of the match. In the first half, look, I don't think it was his best performance. My only sort of criticism was that I want him to be more physical. I don't want him to be thrown around. And I get that. He might have got a penalty. He should have got maybe 2 penalties. I get that. I want him to be more of a, that mongrel attitude, that Diego Costa style that just shrugs defenders away and, doesn't get, I feel like he just bundles over a bit too easily at times, man. Like with his languid sort of body and whatnot. Second half, obviously, opportunistic, gets into that very nice position. I initially thought it was offside, but looking at the replay, it wasn't actually offside. He was well positioned, gets that nice tap-in goal. Defensively helped out as well. So for me, saviour of the match, really saved us the blushes of this particular match. From your perspective, what do you think about his particular performance? But also, most importantly, and this is the main question, Jonathan, everyone seems to get gassed every time they see Tammy do something like that, and they start thinking, oh, he needs to start more games. He needs to be the striker. I still have reservations about that particular factor that is a long-term striker for us. So go ahead, Naman. Your thoughts.
I've always been very persistent in the fact that we've got 3 different strikers fit for 3 different systems and tactics. Different games will allow for those players to play. So Abraham, I thought he played really well. So obviously man of the match. I think maybe if he'd have had Werner with him, would have been even better. He'd have been getting in behind as well with Werner. I think they would have been a fantastic duo. Obviously Werner's injured. But what I liked about Abraham today, obviously, when he saw James with the ball, he made sure he got ahead from his runner, from his marker, and got there so that he could tap the ball in. And as you said, timed his run really well. Obviously cleared that one off the line. Yes, he definitely should have got a penalty. The first one was certainly a penalty. The second one maybe a bit more debatable. But I know his physicality isn't maybe what we'd want it to be, but I feel like we've been spoiled with the likes of Drogba and Costa. We've for so long longed for a big, strong centre forward, a lone centre forward where we can play off. And Giroud, again, is fantastic at that sort of hold up and stature. So we've been spoiled with so many players. We now just kind of expect that from Abraham. And I think that will come with time. So I get the frustrations about the physicality, because sometimes you think, come on, stay on your feet, fight a little bit more. You know, one player that I think stepped up today, and I said it earlier, Christensen, we've moaned about his physicality. Yep. I think he's taking it on board. Hopefully Abraham will. You can tell he loves playing for Chelsea.
He got injured and got taken off because of physicality.
I think, the fact that, he tried to head, on the floor remind me of John Terry. So, these little things, Abraham's still very young. He's still got a long way to develop and to grow. This is only his second season as one of Chelsea's frontline strikers. So
he's got 24.
Yeah, I feel like
telling the boys yesterday with Matisse and Yunus, when do we actually stop saying a player is young? And the boys were saying probably about 24, 25.
26. Yeah, 25, 26, I'd say.
24.
I feel like because it's only his second season, and the fact that he was our top goal scorer last season, job done. This season, he's been in and out of the team, but whenever he plays, he does get goals and assists. And whilst he isn't the complete striker, he's nowhere near what I want him to be. And I have been critical because at times I did think, is he a championship level player? But this season and last season, he's proved that when the time or when he's needed, he does generally provide. So yes, he's got lots of other parts to his game that he needs to improve. But as a striker, you're judged on goals and assists. And if you look at his stats this season, fair play. So yes, he'll improve. I think Tuchel will link him with Werner a little bit more. And I hope if Werner's back, I'd like to see Abraham and Werner against Newcastle on Monday night. So let's see. But yeah, with Abraham, if it's sort of middle of next season and he's been playing another 30, 40 games and he's still at this position, I will be a little bit worried because Chelsea will, if we haven't already, buy another striker. We'll look to get one. So I don't think Tammy could do much more. And as I said, the passion that he shows, you can't knock him. So yeah, and obviously the match winner today. So have to appreciate his contribution today.
No, for sure. Nishal, I just want to quickly read this comment out from Ramir. Tammy pops up with a goal every now and then, but the hold-up play just lets him down. Holds it up 1 out of 10 times, though. His goal contribution ratio per minute is very good. I think this comment in itself kind of, puts a picture on Tammy that he does few things well, few things that he doesn't do well, which is the hold-up. Overall, it kind of gives that comment gives me a vibe that, yeah, he's an okay kind of player, which can do. From your perspective as well, I mean, as Jonathan said, all three strikers that we have a particular role. But in order to win leagues down the track and win titles and the big stuff, like your Diego Costas and Drogba's, they used to bang in 20-plus goals. I think there was a tweet from PYS a couple of days ago saying that Diego Costa, in the 2 seasons that he scored 20-plus goals for us, we won the league. So from your perspective, I mean, do you see someone like Tammy Abraham leading the line for us down the track, or do we need someone like, what we've been rumored with recently with Haaland?
I don't really want to buy another striker. If Haaland is available, sure, because he's an incredible player. I'm not going to deny that. If we have a chance to buy Haaland, go for it. But we've just signed a striker. We've got a striker who's come through the academy. Don't particularly want one. Do we really need one? That's another debate. But what I want to focus on is Tammy Abraham. Do you know what I love about Tammy Abraham? He's been in the first team for 2 seasons, having come up from an 8-9-year-old. In the 2 seasons, he's our top scorer. Last season, top goal scorer. This season, top goal scorer. And do you know what's even better? There's still room to improve. And there's so many points of his game that we all say, you can improve this, you can work on that. But he's still scoring. He's still providing. He's still getting goals, getting assists. And his awareness as a striker, I think what I like about him is that he's the modern striker that you need to be physical and to be around. But he's also that really clever poacher. Every time he's in the box, he'll be, of course, criticised for tap-ins and all. But I don't see tap-ins. I see intelligent striker play. Being in the box, making those runs, being in the perfect position, right place at the right time. That's what Costa had. That's what Drogba had. He has got that. And that's why he scored so many goals. And Abraham does deserve a lot of credit. He came up last season. We couldn't obviously buy a striker. We just sold Morata. We had lost Higuain. His loan deal ended. And he came up and he stepped up to the platform. and he did really well. But there's so much more to come from him. I think Jonathan's point about when do we stop kind of giving him a benefit of the doubt of being a young player, of needing to develop, is a really interesting point. And I would say, given this and next season, 3 seasons I think is a perfect amount of time. If we get to season 4 or the end of season 3, and he's underperforming, he's not the sort of striker we need, he's kind of dropped off, then we'll have to be cynical and have to look at his long-term future. But what we're looking at now, he is a striker. He needs to score goals. He is doing exactly that. And today, again, we saw the goal. He scored the winner. But there's that defensive side of his game as well. What we see in Callum Hudson-Odoi, for example, we see that in Tammy Abraham, that goal line clearance, brilliant. Being in the box, getting rid of the balls, doing the defender's job. As your centre forward, you cannot ask for anything more. So, I'm really excited to see how Tammy Abraham, another player, I want to see how he develops and grows under Thomas Tuchel. But I have a lot of faith in him. And if he's a top goal scorer in his first 2 seasons, why can't he go on to greater things?
No, fair point. A couple of shout-outs here from Kepa as well, being man of the match. Look, I mean, maybe a close second, but Tammy for me. Do understand where you guys are coming from. He did save us definitely in the first half. In the second half, there was a couple of moments as well. Taryn, just quickly from your perspective as well, look, the boys have really been balanced in regards to Tammy Abraham, more sort of in the more sort of pro towards Tammy. I get that. I'm still sort of thinking in the sense that there was that game against Burnley where he was hooked off at half time, whether that was injury. I don't think it was injury. I think it was more tactical. I just want to get to a point where we don't have this confusion about, and we've talked about this. I remember talking to Nishal about this, that, 3 strikers, and we still don't know which is our best striker going into every match. And I don't think that's always a great case to have. So from your perspective, do you feel down the track that Tammy is someone who can be consistent enough for us to play week in, week out and actually mount a title challenge with Tammy Abraham?
Yeah, I'll just go off from Nishal's point. I think that the point that Tammy's been top scorer in our first 2 seasons is just credit to him, that he's come up from the Championship with many loans and he's proved that he is Premier League level. To the point, if he's good enough to be our striker in the future, obviously right now he doesn't compare to the likes of Erling Haaland. Haaland's much younger and hasn't had as much experience, and you've seen a much better goal output and input from him. Abraham, I think he's a really good striker, but his hold-up play could improve, as I saw in one of the comments. His average positions started to be a lot deeper in the pitch, like close to the edge of the D on the halfway line. He started to try and put more Harry Kane style, like assists, passing, building up play, then making late runs into the box. I think that Abraham can be a really good striker in the future. Whether he needs a few more years playing at Champions League level, we've seen last season he scored against Lille. This season, I think he scored a few Champions League goals as well. He can play at Champions League level. He is a really good striker, but whether he is as good as the likes of Erling Haaland, whether he is as good as the likes of, I can't think of any other big strikers right now, but you see my point. I really rate Abraham. He's from our academy as well, which I think that adds more merit to his performances. But he needs to improve some other parts of his game as well. His physicality for a big guy and his heading accuracy, I don't think he wastes a lot of Reece's crosses. Reece can really whip a ball into the box. We saw against Tottenham at home, he wasted a lot of those crosses. But whether he can turn into a more physical striker, that's quite easy to do. Just go down the gym more. But his football intelligence, I think, is really good. You saw that Pulisic had the ball. If he just that ball, Abraham would be in, and he probably would have scored that. He scored one of the only few chances he had in the game from Reece James. Most chances I see he does score along the floor. Is whether he can work on the headed chances and whether he can hold off stronger defenders like a Ruben Diaz's, your Umtiti's, or Sergio Ramos's at the top level. Yeah. But we have seen Abraham at his best. I think he will become good for us. I think he could become a really good striker for us. It's the link up between him and Timo that I've seen that I've really liked. When Timo is playing as a left winger under Lampard, which I don't really rate, but I think that Abraham kind of held up the ball. And I think it was Newcastle when we beat them 2-0. There was a chance where it was a really good link up on the edge of the box. Abraham got it, turned, played it to Timo, and it was a really, really bad miss, like just shanked it wide a little bit. Yeah, you saw that game. And the pass where Werner ran through the middle and burst through, and Abraham times his run always perfectly, by the way. I don't see Abraham offside at all compared to Werner and Morata. which is another talking point Rata I could talk about all day, to be honest. But Abraham, yeah, I really rate him. And as a young striker, he's really proved a lot for me. I really wanted him to do well last year. When he scored the goal against Norwich, he ran over to Lampard. I was so gassed. I was jumping out of my chair, screaming at the TV. And yeah, I really rate Abraham, and I hope he does well at the club, to be honest.
No, fair point. Boys, let's wrap things up right now. For me, look, once again, Thomas Tuchel gets another victory, gets another clean sheet. We're moving to the quarterfinals of the FA Cup against Sheffield United. So hopefully another opportunity to get into the semi-finals and really mix things up in this particular competition and go as far as possible that we can. And obviously next up is Newcastle. Jonathan, I'll go to you, my man, first up. How do you feel? Just your overall thoughts, just to wrap things up.
Enjoyed this review probably more than the game, other than obviously Abraham's goals. So yeah, it's another win. He's unbeaten. We're into the quarterfinals with a nice draw against Sheffield United. Great chance to get into the semis. Yeah, we look ahead to Newcastle now. This game was always about winning. That's all I cared about. I'm not going to look too much into it. The fact that some players didn't play as I'd hoped, I'm not going to think too much and dwell too much. We go on to the Newcastle game where I'm sure we'll have the right mentality and I'm sure we're going to get another 3 points. I'm pretty confident. But it's also refreshing to be on with a new person, Taryn. Nice to be on with you. And obviously, Nishal, always a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure, hasn't it? He's good. He's good.
It's nice hearing a new voice and different opinions. And so thanks for having me.
I'm always happy to talk with you guys. Yeah, it's cool.
Brilliant, man. You're going to be more in this channel. Trust me. You've been good today. Nishal, my man, some final thoughts from your end. Obviously, it's set up nicely. As I said, quarterfinals, FA Cup, we've gone progressing nicely there. Premier League, big game against Newcastle to continue our pursuit towards top four. We could possibly be in the top four after winning against Newcastle, hopefully, if Liverpool keeps dropping points against Leicester. Your overall thoughts, how are you feeling about, the situation right now?
Yeah, echo Jonathan's comments first. Taryn, great to have you on. Really looking forward to this combo in the future. That's 3 wins, or 4 wins in a row, I should say. 3 wins that have been a bit mediocre, but still wins nonetheless. Win the quarterfinals, cannot complain anymore. I love the FA Cup. I love seeing us do well in this competition. We had to fight hard. It was a tricky day in Yorkshire, but we deserved our win. And it's great to have 4 wins in a row. Now back to a Premier League, huge game. As you say, we can be in the top 4. If you do the maths, a Leicester result, a draw or a win, gives us the chance to go into the top 4. Yeah. Huge chance, especially when you consider where we've been in the table.
Bro, what a turnaround, yeah? So what a turnaround.
Amazing turnaround. So it's a big game. Every game is a big one, but this could really show and start the turning point. Because if Tuchel can get us into the top 4 within 2-3 weeks, that deserves some credit. And that deserves a lot of plaudits. The 4 wins in a row, unbeaten in 5, really good. And if you've enjoyed what you've heard from me, you can follow me on Twitter at Nishal_SP, and you can check out my blog, nishalsblog.com. Very exciting content coming on both in the next few days. But thank you for joining. Subscribe to Miz as well and follow all of us. But I hope you enjoy today.
Nah, for sure, my man, for sure. Taryn, first of all, your debut in this particular channel, what a debut. You're going to be back more and more in this channel, in this group as well, and separately as well. I think you've got some great opinions, as Jonathan has said. And this channel is all about giving new faces, new voices, an opportunity. And this is a shout out to everyone that's joined as well. So for 86 people that's on, if you ever think that you want to have a voice in this particular channel, please hit any of us up, myself, the boys. If you feel comfortable, if you're following them, hit them up, hit myself up, and then maybe perhaps we can organize something and have you guys join in this particular discussion board as well. But Taryn, my man, some final thoughts from yourself as well. How you feel, your mindset about where our football club is going at the moment?
Yeah, I just want to firstly say thanks, Miss, having me on. It's a really good thing for you to help me out here and just get me on the channel. And cheers, boys, for accepting me so nicely on the channel and having a good conversation. But yeah, I'm just happy we got the win today through to the quarterfinals. Doesn't matter how we got it. Probably through to the semis now. I don't want to jinx it, but probably is. And I think it's 4 clean sheets from Tuchel now. Just forget the Rudiger and 5. I'm really happy about that. And yeah, thanks for being on the stream today, Miss.
Nah, brilliant. Just quickly on the Rudiger, there was that tricky pass right at the end today where he was sort of thinking, should I pass it to Kepa? And I think it just clicked into gear. I think I've been here before. I'm going to hit it on the side. Yeah. And he just smashed it on the side. So kudos to Rudiger for learning his, I understanding that not to make the same mistake again. But guys, that kind of wraps us up. Hope each and every one of you guys have enjoyed this match review and enjoyed what the boys had to say. We are going to be back again for Newcastle. By the way, big surprise. Nishal, can I share this with the...
Maybe not yet, but just look out for Newcastle. It should be a good game. Very exciting one.
Okay. We won't share anything, but do look out for this channel. There could be something exciting happening against Newcastle, which is going to be quite good. Perhaps pre-match, we may have something extra special going on and might have the boys here again talking about it. But we'll look forward to that. But guys, as I said, enjoy the rest of the day wherever you are. If you're going to go to bed, have a good night. If you're waking up, well done. I hope you have a very good day. We move. Until next time, guys, please smash that like button if you're here for the first time. Subscribe, hit the bell notification to stay in touch with all my content. You shall see me UK time 7 p.m. almost every day, whether it be a stream, whether it be a video uploaded. UK 7 p.m. is my time from now on where you will see me. So yeah, guys, catch you later.